Hi guys, this is Jaima from Mastery Math Lab, and in this video you're going to learn how to simplify complex numbers. But first, let's talk about what is a complex number and why we have them. So I'm going to start off with an example. So if I have 4 squared, that gives me 16, right? Because 4 times 4 is 16. And if I have negative 4 squared, that also gives me a positive 16, because negative times negative is a positive. So no matter if your number is positive or negative, when you square them you get a positive answer. So what if I wanted to work backwards, right? So I start off, if you notice, in both instances you get a positive, so you would have a positive 16. But what if you had a negative 16? Well, it's impossible to get a real answer because if you notice for both cases we have a positive 16. We can't work backwards from a negative 16. And so that's where what we call a complex number comes from. We have to figure out how can I break down or simplify a square root of a negative number. Now some of you might be familiar with I, which represents the square root of negative 1, or even more familiar, I squared equals negative 1. And the I is there to help you simplify a square root of a negative number. So let's see how this applies to our problem. So the problem is asking you to simplify the square root of negative 20. Remember the index is 2 even though it's not written. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break up the square root of negative 20 as the square root of negative 1 times the square root of 20. Okay, and so I know that the square root of negative 1 is I still have the square root of 20. So I'm going to go ahead and break up the 20 into its prime factors. So I know 2 goes into it. 2 times 10, I can still break up the 10, which is 2 and 5. Remember, there is a 2 in front, which tells you how many groups of the same factors, or how many of the same factors you can include within a group. So I have 2, so that means I can include 2 of the same factors in a group. Alright, so I still have the I took out one group of 2, and whatever prime is not circled, which in this case it's 5, stays under the radical. Now to write it in correct format, it's 2I square root of 5. That is your final answer. Hopefully this helps. If you have any more questions, please come into the Mastery Math Lab for additional help. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.